Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vegas Legal Magazine podcast. I'm Mark Fierro with Fierro Communications, and Tyler Morgan, publisher of Vegas Legal Magazine, is doing some social distancing. There's a deep bench in personal injury attorneys in Southern Nevada, but there's a new player in town, Sam Mirejovsky and Ashley Watkins of Sam and Ash. Sam joins us today to talk about some of the approaches that they have for Southern Nevada with marketing based on a cute little dachshund hound with an attitude and a soft spot for the community that is going through these difficult times. Sam, thanks so much for joining us today.
Mark, it's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us, for starters, what is the firm about? It's got a very different look.
Sure. So, one of the things that I think is really a challenge, I don't know, or an obstacle for most lawyers is to be human and to focus less on being lawyers and more on just being human beings that are out there to help. And so Ashley and I, when we were kind of kicking around the idea of going into a partnership and starting a new firm, we looked at all the things that worked really well for us because we've both, as you know, been practicing a long time and have been, we work in a very big firm in Southern California, and we hope to move to Nevada and start a new firm. And we found that the lawyers that we worked with and a lot of our competitors, some of them very good, but as far as taking care of human beings and being relatable and just letting their guard down and allowing themselves to be to form a human contact with their client, that was a challenge. So it started with us naming the firm, not with our last names, but with our first names. And we did that because we want people to know who we are. I'm Sam, Ash is Ash, and we're the firm, and that's who we are in a nutshell. That's the genesis of the name, and that is the foundational thing of who we are.
So you come to town, you got this great brand, you establish yourself, and then our friend Corona shows up, and immediately you were kind of put to the test in regard to how much do you care about the community? And you started with very, very community-based, no money to be made here, but community-based communications.
Yeah, so we have a motto, kind of a lens that we look at everything in good times and bad, and that's what's right. So we think that when it comes to a case, your legal rights, you deserve what's right. And it also means to me and to Ashley that we're under an obligation at all times to do the right thing. And to not, I'll answer your question, but I'm going to go back a little ways. I remember I started a very successful firm in Southern California with a partner down there. And I, whenever we would run into problems or difficulties or anything like that, I would always say, let's just do the right thing. Let's take care of the clients. Let's forge ahead on the right path. Everything's going to work out. And I would have to look at the accountants, and I'd have to look at the consultants, and I'd have to look at these people and say, just let me do this. We're going to do the right thing, and everything else will follow. And it always did. Mm-hmm. So it's a motto of mine, and it's a personal, a personal touchstone. Same for Ashley. So you know the story. We come into town, we just begin to get some traction, and this incredible, horrible event happens to our community. And, I don't think people from out of town even realize how devastating it is here. Mm. Like my friends in Southern California, most of them can work from home, and most of them, I guess, don't go to work anymore and that kind of thing. But here, it struck us really hard because of the number of people who are in the hospitality business who can't work from home. They're either working where they're working or they don't work at all. And so it became clear that we had to do the right thing, and that we it didn't matter about business today. Like, that's not an important matter for us. We love this community. This is our home. Home is Nevada, and home means Nevada, and we are here to stay. And I am just, all we can do right now is to support the community and reassure people. Because I think if you look at the cable news sites and you look at Fox News and you open up, the internet, it's all bad news. And my sense of this is that this will pass. We will get beyond it. We will come back stronger than ever. If any community in the U.S. can get past this, it's us right here in Las Vegas. Like, we're going to get past it. And so I think we have a responsibility with our voice to project that message and to encourage one another to be calm and that we'll get through this.
One of the spots, now you have to remember, the firm is paying for this. They're paying to put it out there. They're paying us to help build the spot, is when things turn around, no 20% tips. If you can afford it, 30, 40, 50%. And you paid money to say, when the time comes, let's help these people who are in the service industry out.
Yeah, so that, I'm glad you brought that particular ad up, because that wasn't scripted. It was just something that Ashley and I did. It just came out when we were filming. I'm a generous tipper. I believe in taking care of people that take care of you. So in fact, I'll say this, and if you're able right now, when it comes to takeout, I know that opinions vary on this, but the lucky few that are still working, and they're not working as much as they used to, and they're not collecting the same in-room dining tips, leave a tip, okay, to your takeout orders. And when we come back, let's help our fellow friends, neighbors, Nevadans, Las Vegans get back on their feet, and paying it forward when we go out for a meal. Patronize every establishment from the MGM to the local mom and pop. Go in there, let's spend a little bit of money if you can, and then take care of these workers that'll finally be back to work.
You know, one of the things that you talked about was the bravery of the WIN organization and the MGM. Obviously, not everybody saw the wisdom of that shutdown before the governor said, shut everything down. Well, the numbers are proving right, because it does seem as if we had a peak and now we're, for the first time in single digits, overnight new cases. That you took the time to say, and I'm going back to the MGM, and I'm going back to the WIN, and because they were leaders, and they probably saved lives.
Well, so I think that we vote with our dollars, right? And I think that as consumers, we can reward good behavior. I'm a consumer attorney. I represent people. And so for me, I think that it's the best way that we can say thank you to the companies that did the right thing and shut down is by going and spending some bucks there when everything opens back up. But to your point, it was that weekend, what is it now, 2.5 weeks ago. And that was the weekend that the world changed. Because I'll admit, I went out that Saturday night, and my wife and I went out to the Strip and we ate, I'll just say where we ate. We went to Bavette's at MGM, at Park MGM, and we had a great meal. And the place was packed. And as I walked out of there, there's a great little bar right outside there, and I know all the bartenders. They're great people. And I saw one of my favorite ladies there, and she just looked very sad. And she had already begun to get the news that night that things weren't going to work out. And I have to correct it. Actually, it was not Saturday. It was Friday night. So it was Friday night, like no, almost 3 weeks ago now, where she got the news that it would be shutting down. That's how ahead of the game MGM was, because the order didn't come, 4 days
Overnight.
later. They knew, they saw the numbers, they saw and knew that social distancing would be what gets us through this. 100%. By doing that, and by doing it even just a few days before the official order came down, they saved lives. And every state, you see this, every state and every community where we've been aggressive about social distancing, the numbers bear out and are already showing that it's working. So I feel very strongly about that. Yes.
Hey Sam, how are you doing the social distance in your office with dealing with and still move forward with cases? Seeing a lot of mediation. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, you're cutting out.
Say again.
I was asking, how is the current law, the social distancing? For instance, how are you able to handle the cases that are currently out in litigation and so forth? How has it sort of changed your daily practice of law?
Good question.
Yeah, that's actually a great question, because with courts closing down, the perception is that justice is on pause. And the short answer to that is no, wrong. So my objective always is to try to get a resolution for our clients without them needing to be dragged through a court process. And court is reserved for cases where the other side absolutely wants to take it all the way, or where we're not getting what we want and we need to take it all the way. Now, insurance companies, and defendants and corporations, they're all, the big guys, they're all around and they're open for business and their employees may be working from home. But their obligation to you, to me as people and as victims in an accident hasn't changed. And I think a very important thing here is that people know that they shouldn't wait for all of this to blow over and then emerge, months, weeks later, let's say, from the bunker, from home quarantine, and only then take care of it. In fact, I would say what we're doing is we're pushing these cases forward, and we want the first place in line for you, right, for our clients. And so when it comes to these court cases, I'm hearing actually that some of our defendants are interested in settling because they're worried at the tail end of this that they're going to have, once everything reopens, all of a sudden it'll be a much more crowded calendar because the whole year is going to get squeezed into a shorter time frame. And I actually think that this is, from what I'm seeing, and it's only been 2 weeks, but I'm seeing this as an opportunity for some of our clients to get a little more money on the table and potentially get a settlement instead of having to go all the way. So, like with any crisis, you've got to make it work and you've got to get through it. And that's what we do for our clients.
You've even changed your intake. So people sitting at home, you've said this several times, people are scared to death. They don't want to go out to go talk to an attorney, but they've got an insurance company saying, here, take this $1,000, take this crappy little check.
Yeah, I absolutely. So everything I say, it's touchless. If you're okay touching your computer and you're okay touching your phone, we can get everything done for you. And by the way, our firm has had all this technology in place before all this hit. And one of my backgrounds is actually in legal technology. I developed some software for attorneys, and that, so I'm a very tech forward person and a tech forward attorney. And now all of that is proving extremely useful because we are mandated. We're told we must keep away from each other, and our offices, our physical office is more or less closed, and we've got everybody working remotely. But yes, absolutely. And everything can be done by phone, but the insurance company, they won't stop. They'll still show up, and they'll like you're saying, they'll still come by and they'll have a $200,000-300,000 check on on a clipboard, and all you have to do is sign here. And
On what could be a $10 million claim.
could be.
Yeah.
And I've seen that. And so even if, by the way, even if you've signed one of those, Mark, like I know you wouldn't do this, but insurance company comes by here in Nevada, you can unwind the deal in certain conditions if you haven't been represented. So it's, call us if you did take that money, call us for an opinion on it, because we may be able to do something.
So when you think about the power of Las Vegas, the whole city is shut down. Some people are saving $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000 a month not going out to dinner. So there's this giant pent up demand. Think of what happens if there are, we're a community of 2 million people, even if there are only 100,000, 200,000 people that are made pretty much whole, and they're out there churning a couple of grand, we can generate tens of millions of dollars on our own overnight, back into the casinos, back into restaurants. If people think that way, and I have a feeling that they will, they're still getting dinner out of it. They're still going back to these places. But when it turns, when the governor says it's okay, don't you get the feeling that we can kind of power through this on a local basis to some extent?
Yeah, two things on that. One, we have an incredibly strong economy here. The foundations of this economy are solid, and I agree with you 100%. That's why I think we should encourage one another to do that when the gates open up. And the other thing that I think will happen is I think the demand is pent up nationally and internationally. What I'm seeing from my friends that live out of state, what I'm seeing on social media, what I'm hearing is people can't wait to come back here. Yep. And guess what? The timing is will be, I predict, right at the beginning of summer, because I think by June 1, we're going to be rocking and rolling again. I really do. But right around that time, it's going to be summer. It's going to be warm. The pools will open back up. We'll gradually get back into it. But I think the demand for Las Vegas is huge. And when the dust clears, maybe I'm just saying this as an ex-Californian, but when all this clears, we're still going to be the better state. This is still going to be the place to be, and it's still going to be the place for new businesses to come to.
That's for sure.
And hire local. So my sense of where this economy will be once we get over this hill, I'm extremely positive, and I am absolutely optimistic.
Tyler, what's happening with your business? Tyler has an interesting business model.
Yeah.
Well, so I work in the medical side, and it's part of why I'm quarantined, because I'm trying to only allow myself to be exposed a little bit around the patients and the physicians and stuff here. Yeah. And that's why I don't want to risk myself over there anymore. But we focus personal injury medicine. So we're still treating patients and everything.
Wonderful. What group are you with?
We're Southern Nevada Medical Group.
Sure.
So the patients are still coming in. They're coming in for treatment. We've had some patients cancel, not want to come in because of the social distancing, not want to be touched. Incorporated, just like this, telemedicine. We have the doctors following up with the patients, seeing them. We could electronically prescribe the medications and go over everything with them, and still get the referrals out and review MRI reports and everything with them. So it's a new wave of practice for us. We've utilized some of it in the past, sort of like you have for your law firm. You've had the technology. It's just now we're kind of actually getting to use it more in a forced way than a trial way. But it's good. It's really been interesting, and I think we're actually kind of getting to know our patients even closer and more on a personal level than ever before.
It's like there's this 100% focus when it's telemedicine. There's nobody else in the room. There's no distractions. You get a chance for the doctor
Yeah,
to
and
talk to him.
and I think it's really interesting when the doctor gets to do an examination with a patient when the patient's sitting on their couch in their living room.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Everything's
Well,
put aside.
I always thought the whole idea, well, let's say you have a communicable disease. So you think you have a communicable disease. So what you do is you take yourself from out of your house, get in a car, or get on a subway, or
Get
take
on a bus or get in an Uber.
or get in an Uber, and you're driving to a big building with a lot of other people in
Who are
it
sick.
that think that they have or have communicable diseases. And then you wait in a waiting room. And at the end of that process, and the doctor just talks to you. And maybe they do, maybe there's a listening to your breathing and your heart and that kind of thing. But for the most part, I think that this COVID-19 quarantine situation is going to make us rethink medicine.
Yeah.
And I think that our past aversion to telemedicine, I think we're going to get over it a little bit. And I think that's going to be good for us as a society, and it's going to be good for the practice of medicine, even well after, coronavirus's history.
To your point, let's remember that just because you have the common flu doesn't mean that you can't get coronavirus, and your chances of getting deathly ill are far greater when you visit a doctor's office. You're exposing the doctor, and this is my political point for the year. We're all worried about doctors in emergency rooms and surrounding emergency rooms and having the medical protective equipment that they need. And we're using it in clinics that should never have to use it in at least 70% of their cases. All of that protective equipment could be going where they need it into emergency rooms and intensive care.
Right.
Just telemedicine.
Right.
And I'm here to tell you, I know my wife's a doctor, it's that they pay nothing for telemedicine. If these insurance companies were thinking it through, they'd say, I can avoid having my insured go, just as you said, to a place that probably has a heavy pathogen load. They don't ever have to enter. They won't get sicker. It may be allergy. Because to your point, that's the saddest thing, is when the doctor sees the patient, looks at their temperature and says, that's an allergy. But look what you've been exposed to.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the tough part. We have to be smarter. We have to be smarter. And when the copay on these things is $20 because they don't value telemedicine instead of the normal $150 or whatever it would be, something's wrong. People need to catch up.
Sure, and I think if you model it out, my prediction is that insurance companies would discover that they would end up making money or saving more money
So much savings.
by paying on those
Absolutely.
appointments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about 70% of the cases that you don't need to listen to the patient's heart and chest, as you say. And we're going to be able to do that at a distance here in no time at all.
Yeah, you get where now smartwatches are going and all these devices, and a doctor being able to hook into that and take vitals. I absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, something there has to change. So you're in Las Vegas. You're taking a very, very friendly, community-friendly path. What are your next steps in this interim, in these next couple of months?
Well, I have a few different focuses. First of all, we've got our clients that we're taking care of, and we've got a lot of existing clients, and we're doing great work on their cases. And so I have that right now keeping me very busy. I also am, it's the most challenging thing about this quarantine situation as a business owner is we're growing, and we're a business that's actually expanding. I did my first interview the other day by Zoom.
Nice.
So I've never done that before.
Nice.
I'm just saying. So I have an employee actually that has been onboarded. She's terrific. I've never met her in person. So that's a challenge. And so when I say my next steps, it's growing out, and this is uncharted territory, growing out a business at a time when a lot of people are contracting, growing out a business and adding people and training them, developing them, hiring them, but also developing them remotely. And that's part of it. We're at the same time, we're building out our new office that's in downtown Las Vegas, and we love our building. We're over in the Arts District, and it's it's just it's a part of town that's very close to me. I like that area, and I'm very proud of what the city of Las Vegas is doing in redeveloping it and Project Enchilada. And so we're participating in that and very excited to be down there. But our next steps are to keep growing and to help as much as we can in this community, and to hire as many people, great people as we can to join our team and to continue helping our clients. What a lot of people don't realize is that, me and Ashley, we could be the best, most incredible lawyers ever. But it all hinges on who our staff are and what kind of people we have on our team. And we have an exceptional team. And, if you were to be our client and you began interacting with some of our staff, you'd realize that. And every month that we're in business longer, that's a month that we're getting better and better. And I'm really looking forward to bringing everybody back in under one roof. And I miss people. Like, I'm a social person, Mark. This is, being at home and being in my home office and interacting with people on a screen. It's difficult. And I have older parents, and I miss them desperately. And we're keeping our distance from them because they're that vulnerable age group. So these are going to be on that level. It's a couple of lost months, but it's a small price to pay for really saving, I think, millions of lives.
Yep. Here's one. We get a call the other day from a young man, and he's taking a break from college. You have to. And he says, is there any way I might be able to do an internship with you? He's from a great family. I know his parents. They're wonderful. Oh, yeah. You're telling me in the middle of this that you're trying to find a positive way to use this time? So I had him work on two things. One is, gave him this history of our PR practice.
Yeah.
And the change that came with social media. And I said, then we come in and we dominate our area, and this is what we're really good at. And then Uncle Corona, comes crashing through the back door in a drunken. So tell me how you fix our firm. And the second one is, there's a new law firm in town, Sam and Ash. This is their branding. Tell me how they go about keeping this base together in the digital world, in a safe world at a distance. And he called me back a couple hours later. He goes, I already like these guys.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
So
smart
interns,
kid.
You've got a college kid who's at home and they want to better themselves. Start calling around. There are people that say, heck yeah, stay on the computer, stay safe. But yes, I'm going to teach you something in this time.
Yeah. And if you're a young person at the cusp of getting out of college or even high school, and you're worried about your professional prospects right now, let me give you a little bit of advice, because I just saw someone, and it was sad. I saw somebody on social media. I don't know her, but she is a current student at my law school where I went to school. And the gist of it was, I feel really down right now because I had a summer job lined up, and they called me and told me that until this thing blows over, they really can't make any commitments and let me off, basically. And I responded to her. And I'll tell you, because I think my response to her would be what I would say to a lot of people who are in a similar position. Don't worry. Right now, employers, whether they're law firm owners, whether they own a car wash, whether they have an insurance business, communications company, magazine, whatever it is, they are focused on putting one foot in front of the other. And that will change when we enter more known than unknown territory. And that turning point is coming soon, because at some point we're going to hit the apex of this thing, and we're going to be on a downward slide, and we're going to be able to see light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to know that it's not an oncoming train. And when that happens, employers will start looking prospectively. They'll start looking down the road. And the first thing that they're going to need is you. And you young people that are starting out your careers and you're fresh out of school, you're always in demand. So don't worry. Take this 1 week at a time. Don't despair. You're young, and this too shall pass. And I think that's a really important message. It's funny you brought that up, because I've just been thinking about that today, and the words of that gal have been weighing on me. And I really think there's a lot of people like her that are worried, but they shouldn't be.
Hey, Tyler, what happens to people after they've been in an accident and they start working out to the extent that they can? Aren't they building their immune systems and building their health? I mean, it's a better way to get through this, isn't it? Just be tougher, be stronger.
Yeah, we actually, Dr. Hyla has a saying that motion is lotion, and the more you move, the better you get.
Yep.
So we're pretty strong proponents of getting people moving around and active. We'll even, if we got to tell them virtually through the like the Zoom apps, we don't use Zoom, we use another HIPAA compliant one, but through video conference, we'll have them stand up, move around, bend over, and show us the range of motion, and kind of encourage them to move around on their free time too, to kind of get them better throughout this.
Yeah, you think about people in their 50s and 60s, if you're in good shape, if you were working out before this, don't go back into the gym, but keep working out, keep walking, keep running, and you can just get up on coronavirus. Not everybody's going to make it through, but if you do end up in a hospital, think how much better chances you are when you've got a robust health picture.
I'm not a physician, so I don't like giving medical advice. Anything that I'm saying is anecdotal. But I now know one person. I have a brother-in-law who came down with coronavirus and was hospitalized for a week. He is 45. He's fine now. And my suspicion is his body was susceptible because he was overworked and stressed out and was traveling back and forth to DC. And so, taking care of yourself, exercise, eating well, getting sleep, you know how much your body needs. All of that is really critical. And in this emphasis on home confinement, one thing that is disrupted is our routine. Yeah. And if, to your point, if you have a routine that included the gym, and now all of a sudden the gym's closed and you can't go to the gym. Okay, you were home 1 week, you were home a second week, we're in the third week, now do something about it. Because this will make or break you, and you don't want to come out of this, more susceptible than before. And if you want an inspiration, my dad is 79. He's a great guy. And he walks somewhere between 5 and 6 miles a day.
Those are the magic numbers.
He walks, he's gone, I don't know, a couple, 3 hours, whatever it is. And he lives by area where there's some trails, doesn't come into contact with anybody. He's very lucky because he lives in a good spot. But that's what, if you're, get outside, walk outside. It's what I'm telling all of our team members right now. Take some time off during the day. Take a lunch, eat something, and then go for a walk. And take your breaks and go for a walk. Go outside. At the very least, you need the vitamin D.
Yeah. That's the cornerstone, I think, is to the extent that you can, get ready, get stronger. When fishermen can't fish, they mend their nets. So you ask yourself, what can I do with this time? Train your dog. That's the real payoff, right? Maybe get him to stay in the yard even. And with that, we call it a day. The Vegas Legal Magazine podcast. I want to sincerely thank Sam and Ashley Watkins. She'll be with us next time, owners of Sam and Ash Law Firm. Tyler Morgan, publisher of Vegas Legal Magazine, who is at a safe distance today. Thank you for joining us. Remember to like and share the Vegas Legal Magazine podcast on Facebook. Also catch us on YouTube, iTunes, or my personal favorite, Stitcher. And for all of you out there with a story idea, or an axe to grind, you can get a hold of Vegas Legal, the leading magazine in the Southern Nevada legal market. You can call Tyler Morgan at 702-222-3476. I got your line, right? Reach out, tell us, tell your friends. Have a good one. We're out of here.